Welcome to this video on meta tag. A meta tag basically represents a metadata that gives data about the data present on a web page. Basically, that describes some aspects of the contents which are present on a web page. This tag basically does not change the appearance of any web page. It basically is useful for web browsers, the user agents, or the search engines which are used. They are using the ranking, or they are calculating the page rankings. Whenever we search anything, they give the respective pages for that. So these search engines are basically using this meta tag. Now syntactically it's an empty tag, singular tag basically, that does not contain anything. There are no contents present as such, they are there with the p tag or some anchor tag, etc. And this particular tag sits between the head tags. So in the head part of the web page, that will be present. So there are some attributes which are as follows. First is name, that is the name of the metadata that we are going to describe here. Next is content, which will basically give what text or value which is present for that name. Next is HTTP EQUIV, HTTP equivalent. It's a pragma directive, that means it is giving some information regarding the header part. Next is character set, char set it is called as. The character encoding used to represent the information or the data on the web page. And there are some global attributes like title as well, which will be not discussed rather here. The references of the video will be giving more information onto that. So we'll be concentrating here on the name, content, HTTP equivalent, and char set. So let us see one by one. So first is name, which may have the following values. For example, application name. The application name basically represents the name of the current web application. If the page or the web page that we are seeing is part of a web application, then only this particular value is meaningful. Otherwise, that should not be used. If it is going to be a static page, this application name is not relevant and that should not be used. Next is author. We will see application name and then we'll see generator here, and then we'll directly switch to the code. So there are some applications like Dreamviewer or FrontPage which are used to create web pages in the WYSIWYG fashion, as if we are drawing some images, where we are dragging some part of the web page and then we are generating. So these kind of applications are there. If such applications are used for generating that web page, then we can specify that in the generator value. So rest of the values of that name attribute will be seen in the actual code. So this is a web page HTML script that is using some meta tags. Now these meta tags, the structure we will go and see, but before that let us see that the meta tags are used in the head section. So after title, we are starting with some meta tags. The first is the keywords. The name is equal to keyword. There are so the first attribute of the meta tag is name. So there are various values possible for the name, as we have just seen. The first is keywords. The structure is meta space name is equal to, in double quotes, the value will be passed as keywords. So there are many such values possible for the name attribute. For example, keywords, description, author, copyright, viewport. We'll see one by one. Now the first is keywords. And for the keywords, basically, as you have just seen, meta tag is used for search engine optimization or search engines basically. So the contents here, if you see, the next value that is passed is content. The attribute that is passed is content, sorry. So for the content, the various values like meta tags and metadata are given. So these are the tags, or these are the keywords which are present, or for which people are searching for this type of web page. Means whenever you search for meta tags or metadata, this page should be searched by the search engine. So basically this is what is called as the keywords. The keywords of the document or the web page should be put here, so that it is easy for the search engines to locate this web page for the people which are searching for those keywords. I hope that this is clear now. So the next attribute is description. So whenever in the case of search engines, when we search something, then the page is displayed with some description, basic description. So that can be put here. So the name attribute will be having description as the value, and for the next attribute content, the description that we want to give for this particular web page will be given. So let me just tell you, we are now seeing the name attribute, and for each name attribute we also require one more attribute which is called as content. So that is the second attribute. So next, name is equal to author. The one who has authored this page, web page or document, the name of that person or persons can be given in the content here. For this, name is equal to author. So here the example being Balbharti has been put as the author name. We can give whatever author name it is there. Next is name is equal to copyright. If you want to put some copyright information for the page, we can put in this way: name is equal to copyright and content is equal to whatever the copyright information that is there. For example, copyright at Balbharti and all rights are reserved. There can be other copyright information like if it is in the open domain, whether the document is open domain and copying is allowed, whatever sort of copyright information that can be embedded or content here. Next important is viewport. So the attribute name for the meta tag, the value of viewport is given. Now what basically viewport means, we'll discuss first and then we'll go on to the details of that. You know that at the beginning, when there were no mobiles used for surfing the web. The web was surfed only with devices having larger screens like laptops and computers, for example, PCs. So pages were also designed only considering those large screens. So when mobiles emerged and people used to use mobile phones to surf the web pages, their screens were too small as the screens of laptops and PCs are concerned. And it was the pages which were seen on those small devices were not that pleasant. They were not being properly seen because they were not being properly rendered, because they were designed for these large screens. So now it is possible that the same page may be viewed on a large screen like PCs or laptop, or that may be the same page may even be seen on a smaller device like mobile or tablet, for example. So this tag is helpful there. The word viewport basically means the area of the web page that is visible. That viewport is now being defined here with the name is equal to viewport, and the value in the content describes that width of the web page should equal the width of the device. Whatever device it is there, we are not statically defined the width here. Rather, the width should be equal to the width of the device. If it is mobile, the width should be equal to the mobile's width, screen's width, or if it is a larger screen, then the width should be proportionate to that. Next is initial scale. When the page is loaded or initially rendered, what should be the scale for the information? At what scale the information should be rendered, displayed? So here scale is 1. So let us go into one example and see what exactly that affects. So here is a screenshot of two renderings. The left part, at this part, a mobile screen is showing the same web page, which is also seen here on the right part, but the difference being that the left part or the script in the web page in that left part is not having the viewport defined, and that's why here the web page is loaded in the mobile screen, which is not legible, which is not readable, which is not pleasant. But if it is manipulated here with the help of the viewport meta tag, it is, the information is easily seen. We can read the text, we can easily see the actual image, and that appears to be pleasant, at least readable. So this is the difference. Basically, to repeat, the viewport defines the viewport that will be presented for the individual devices. And now with this, we are defining the page width to be compatible with whatever the width of the screen that the page is rendered with. And scale, here if you see the previous difference, the right side scale is maximized to suit the small screen. Now the text is scaled up. That's how the difference is there. So third attribute of the meta tag is HTTP equivalent. EQUIV, it is written as like this. So HTTP equivalent, as you can see, these are the various options which are possible. I will see one by one. Refresh, set cookie, content type, and expires. Basically what HTTP equivalent does is it provides an HTTP header for whatever value or information which is presented in the content attribute. So we'll see with the help of some examples. The first example basically gives the duration for the refresh. Means imagine there is a cricket match, the score of a cricket match is being displayed on the web page. The data will not be static, it will constantly be changing, and that's how the page should be constantly be refreshed. So this particular meta tag defines that at what duration in seconds the page will be refreshed. So here the meta has got the attribute of HTTP equivalent or EQUIV, where the value supplied to that HTTP equivalent attribute is refresh. That means the page is to be refreshed, and the time in seconds, let me repeat, the time will be supplied in content will be in seconds. So 30 is the 30 seconds. So after every 30 seconds the page will be automatically refreshed. So this is what is the first value for the HTTP equivalent. The next is expires. Here we must first know that whenever a static page is loaded or any web page is loaded in a browser, the static part of that, static means the part which is not being changed. For example, there may be some content like some images or some text which will never be updated, or rather not updated regularly. and there are some parts which may be updated. For example, the date part, current date, time, etc. Or simply consider a static page where no contents are ever changed. So whenever the page, such a page is first seen or downloaded on a web browser, it may be stored into the cache. Cache is a part of memory, we can say, which will be storing that web page. So the next time that you visit that page, that may be directly loaded from the cache itself. The actual server copy of the page may not be referred. So that is what is called as caching. That is used to uh, minimize the speed. Minimize the time delay which is required to load the pages. So if a page is not going to, the contents of the page is not going to change, it is not always required to go to the server copy. We can simply visit the page from the local, the machine copy of the page itself, whatever that was previously downloaded on our local machine. So if that is not desired, then we can use expires. So if it is required that the page has to expire, the contents of the page has to expire after a specific time or a date, then we can specify that. That basically is written like meta, then HTTP equivalent as previous, then that is given expires as the value. Next attribute content, where the exact date and time at which that date and time parameter is written like this. The first three characters Monday, or any three characters representing the day, next comma, then the date, then the three characters of the month, then YYYY, four characters of the year, followed by obviously space, and the time like this 1:00:00, that is a 24-hour time, and the time zone Greenwich Mean Time. So this is how, that means whenever this time instance occurs, at that time, even though a cache copy, that means the local copy of the page is there with you in your machine, that copy will expire and the browser will go to server again to reload the page, to fetch the contents. That means that at that time onwards, you can simply see the updated copy of the page. So next is content type. HTTP equivalent has got a value content type, where the next attribute content defines what type of content, the document that it is. So text HTML, here text HTML, and the charset attribute is there once again, and that charset defines UTF-8. So UTF-8 basically means Unicode. Let me tell you, even though it is possible that we can give this information here, in my view it is redundant, because otherwise the information of this doc type is being rendered into HTML is already given, that may even that can be given here. And for charset attribute, charset value, there is a particular attribute present in the meta separate. So that can be omitted. These two things can be omitted. And let us concentrate on the last attribute of the meta tag, which is charset, which is once again the same thing. This is used for representation only. Either this should be used or this should be used. So charset basically represents the character encoding, the name of the character encoding, which is used to render the text which is present in the web page. For example, if you are using a normal English text, or the script for that is Latin, so then we can use, for example, ISO 8859-8. If you need to render some Indian scripts, or some Japanese scripts, or some other Chinese scripts, then accordingly the character encoding will change. For example, For Devanagari, like this, whatever that is present here, if a page is going to have scripts, other scripts, then we need to accordingly change the rendering. Otherwise, some browsers may not be able to display that particular part. So here the UTF-8 means Unicode. So Unicode text will be effectively rendered properly here. I mean, the browser will come to know that the page is going to have some Unicode text. So in this way, a meta tag can be used. So I'll be giving the references or links to the references in the video descriptions. For the time being, uh, these are some valid references, authentic references from which the contents have been taken along with the textbook information content in the textbook. So we have today seen the meta tag, where the attributes like name, content, HTTP equivalent, and char set have been seen. Thank you. If you think that the video was helpful, you can like this. You can, if you want to specifically say what contents were good, you can comment. If you want to get notification of more such videos, you can subscribe and hit the bell icon, and share this video if you think that your friends may also be benefited. Thank you.